Though we have all traveled many uncertain roads, we have always recognized something wasn't right. We searched high and low, yet our paths had never intersected. Our desire to seek truth, then to speak true, has brought us all together. That thing of ours is rooted in truth, because truth is the only unshakable foundation. In the greatest book, it states in John 8:32, "For ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."
Truth is a powerful force. It is the foundation on which all great achievements are built, and the bedrock of trust and respect in any relationship. When we are rooted in truth, we can be confident that our decisions and actions are grounded in reality rather than in speculation or wishful thinking.
The pursuit of truth is not always easy. It requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to face uncomfortable facts. But in the end, the truth is always worth it. It allows us to make better decisions, to build stronger relationships, and to create a more just and equitable world.
From politics and world events to entertainment and pop culture, we've got you covered. We'll explore our history and the stories that matter to uncover the truth that lies at the heart of each one. With our fingers on the pulse of the news cycle, we'll provide the insights and analysis you need to stay informed and engaged. As we stay rooted in truth and let the truth guide us in all that we do, let us be willing to listen, to learn, and seek out the facts, even when they challenge our own assumption or belief.
Let us never forget that the pursuit of truth is not just an individual endeavor, but a collective one. Only by working together
With honesty and integrity,
can we build a better future for ourselves
And for generations to come.
This is That Thing of Ours.
How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining us today on this Thursday, 12th of September, 2024. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and Pill.net.
and if you haven't already, please take a minute and give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on Pill, take that red pill. And if you're over on X, smash that heart.
Yes, I didn't do the things. Thumbs up, pilled, and heart. Yeah, those things. Thank you.
It's okay. Let's say hi.
Yeah, yeah, we're a little off tonight. Kay, as you can probably tell, is not feeling so awesome tonight.
No.
I had, if y'all are following on the Telegram, I had put out a message that we weren't going to do it, and then Kay rose from the bed there, and like Rocky, you could hear the Rocky theme, and she comes, like rolling down the stairs. And she's like, all right, we're going to do this show, whatever. And there's no stopping her. So here we are. Hey, Chachi, what's going on, man? What's up, Skunk? How you doing? Jenny.
Watch out for the frogs, Jenny.
Watch out for the frogs, Jenny.
Thank you.
Yo, what's up, F. Clan? Jenny says that her daughter won her first scrimmage for soccer tonight. She scored the first goal, too.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's great news.
Awesome.
Yeah, congratulations to her and seeing that kind of success. Hopefully she sees more of it. Hey, Mike, what's going on, man? So, all right. Yeah, I have the Tiger K. Exactly, Jenny. There you go.
Yeah. Had to get it done.
Yeah. Otherwise, she's generally just kind of a tiger. Whatever.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Are you?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Let's go.
All right, let's do this.
This here's a resident of Springfield, Ohio. Listen to what she has to say.
This shit ain't no joke. It's not funny. I really do not feel fucking safe here, bro. Like, everyone on TikTok, on Facebook, making these jokes and get everything's fucking funny. Like, imagine you being homeless for a whole fucking year for no fucking reason. Like, what the fuck? This shit is not fun. This shit is not cool, bro. They really out here decapitating animals and y'all are making jokes out of it. Imagine if you went outside and you saw your dog's head decapitated on the fucking ground. Like, why are y'all thinking this shit's a joke? It's not a joke. I don't feel comfortable walking anywhere. Like, what the fuck? I should be able to feel safe in my own city. Everybody's fucking homeless out here. ain't shit but fucking scary ass Haitians just lurking and creeping and shit. Y'all thinking this shit's motherfucking funny? I keep making this shit up. It's not made up, bro. This shit is real life. This shit is really affecting me. Like, what the fuck?
So people are making fun of Trump for saying what he said. But I mean, if you think about it, this here is a person in Springfield, Ohio, breaking down in front of your eyes, saying her reality or telling us what the reality is where she lives in Springfield, Ohio. Again, I personally have not seen videos of them decapitating any type of animals, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. And if the people in that local community are telling us that it's happening, that's probably something we should pay attention to and not just disregard and act like, oh, they're just making it up. All these people are conspiracy theorists. And if you go back in time, this is Kamala Harris talking about the Haitian migrants.
That is why also, starting with our administration, we gave TPS, temporary protected status, to Haitian migrants, 55,000. And then more recently, we extended temporary protected status to over 100,000 Haitian migrants for that very reason, that they need support, they need protection.
So what's happening in Springfield, Ohio is a direct result of Biden and Harris's policies. The population of that city is about 58,000, and there reportedly is 15 to 20,000 Haitian migrants in that city alone. So again, people on the left are trying to make fun of anybody who says anything like this is possibly happening in Springfield, Ohio. Be careful.
Thoughts?
So, obviously, it's not a joke. And this is probably the greatest reason why President Trump did that. Oh, look, he was proved right yet again. Huh?
Yet again.
Yet again. Yeah. Yet again. He was proved right. So, what are we seeing? And thank God Trump is pointing us in the direction that we need to go, because it's getting the real news out there for a change. And that's exactly what we need. Is we need the real news. We need to know what's really going on, because we've been lied to. I mean, obviously they were lying about it. They tried to mock, and you can't tell me that you tell me that you get to the national level of news broadcaster and not have feelers that are going to call you and say, hey, there's something going on weird over here, like the information isn't going to get passed up from the local news channels out there in Springfield, Ohio, up to ABC in New York City. No, those people knew exactly what was going on, and they tried to provide cover for Kamala, and they know it. So they only managed to show their own corruption or ineptitude. But either way, they don't have a reason to be where they are at. Now, with Kamala Harris, you can't tell me that the vice president of the United States, with their daily intelligence briefings, all of the briefings that are going on, that there's not some information about the Haitian migrants in Ohio eating the pets, especially when the police are called. I saw one of the videos of the police officers, and they were talking specifically about she's got hair around her mouth, cat hair around her mouth. So it was like not trying to, cut anything. I'm just straight up trying to eat a cat. And that's terrifying. So if you want to know why these people, like why this lady was crying the way she was, it's because it's very real. And we all know how it feels when we lose a pet. They are members of the family. And to have, your decapitated pet in your front yard is the only thing that's left behind, that's pretty terrifying. Anyways, hey, Jan, thanks for joining. Now we know why he was talking about Hannibal Lecter. Yeah. Yes, we do. Hey, Jan.
I had a few more videos, but of course, TikTok.
So many of them got taken down. Yeah.
I had 4 more and they got taken down. But I do have Sheriff in Butler County, Ohio. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Okay.
How's everybody doing today? I'm Sheriff Rick Jones from Butler County, Ohio. I'm here today to talk to you about the invasion of our country. And mostly what we've had, I want to talk about Springfield, Ohio, which is less than an hour drive from here in Butler County, Ohio. So if you look at it, Springfield has been in the news in the past few days. It's a 1-hour drive from here, and their residents, about 50,000 residents. In 4 years, I want to repeat that, in 4 years, they can't tell exactly, it's between 15 and 20,000 illegals have came into their community, have been brought to that community. Listen, 50,000 residents And you've seen it on the news, what you've got, the residents are angry as hell. It affects their school system. It affects the hospitals, the social services agencies. Where are they going to live? The police, the life squad, you don't know who these people over, who they are. They're coming in. Now, you've seen on the news mostly Aurora, Colorado. Illegals took over an apartment complex, all from one country. Listen, it comes a time to when we have to say, look, you can't just come here. They come from 160 different countries. They come through Mexico into the United States. I have people ask me, we're the the seventh largest county in Ohio, all the way in Ohio, the seventh largest of 88 counties. Why do you care? It's pretty simple. It affects everybody. Here in Butler County, we have 400,000 roughly population. In my jail, any given day, I have close to 1,000 prisoners. In the last 3 years, I want to repeat that. In the last 3 years in my Butler County jail, I've had close to 1,000 illegals in my jail from all over the world. Of that 1,000, they've had 2,000 criminal charges placed on them. I just had a guy in my jail that been deported 8 times, and they found out that he killed somebody. And it's not the end of that. We just went back and got another one from Mexico that killed somebody 10 years ago. They get there, they think they got it made. I've been saying this all along. It affects, I go to small counties. I talk to smaller sheriff's offices. I go to sheriffs and I talk to them from all over the country. It don't matter how small your city is. If you're on the interstate, you got people coming through, they arrest them. What language are they speaking? They come through your jail. They're in your area. If you get out on the roads and you travel, they're in your area. If you go to the people that have died here in Ohio, we've had 5,000 people die of drug overdoses where the fentanyl is coming through the Mexican border, coming from China. China's doing this on purpose and trying to addict and kill people and cause disruptions within our country. It's not on the border. I've been to the border 3 times. And I'm telling you, every state is a border state right now. If you get out on the highway, you travel, you get out on you go shopping, people are on drugs, they're driving cars. This is because it's coming through Mexico from China. We're in a major issue of our country. 78% of Americans think that we've let the borders go and we're being overrun. We have people coming from China that are of military age. That's not make-believe. We have people that are here. We're getting ready to come up on 9/11. Don't forget what terrorists can do, a small group. Pay attention. These complexes and these people that are coming into our country illegally, they're not supposed to be here. We don't know who they are. We allow close to 1.5 to 2 million people to come in legal every year. I believe they've got close to 16 million people or more that have came into this country. We have no idea who they are. Pay attention. God bless you and stay safe, my friends.
Thoughts?
Wow. So the immigration crisis is everywhere. And this is the fruits of that labor of not being able to shut down the border. No, they're catching the birds. Oh, okay. I was just asking if the migrants out there in New York City are eating the rats. And no, apparently they're not. They're just eating the seagulls. Tracy says, I'm going to Springfield, Ohio. I'm only 2 hours, 3 minutes. I think it's worth checking out. Wow. Well, be safe out there. You know, it's kind of scary. I'm sure it'll find its way to other places here shortly. Really, it's a terrifying thing that they are absolutely everywhere. The problem with illegals seems to be in every county in the U.S. So there's nobody that's actually calling for a sanctuary city anymore. So I guess that's the good news out of all of this. Now, you know, we got to get President Trump into office so that way he can deport them like he says. You know, that's all we can really hope for. Yeah, Lightspear says, I know it's happening everywhere. And it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad, but it is what it is. And I think these people are given the promises of, you know, the land where everybody's rich and they all have money and you can do whatever you want. They all think it's, you know, like one of the Hangover movies. but not just limited to Vegas, but everywhere else. And the sad thing is living here in Vegas, people watch that stupid movie and they think that's what they're supposed to do out here. And it's like, no, we still have laws. So yeah, don't get dumb out here in Las Vegas. So with that being said, it's the migrant issue has been an issue for quite some time. In the past, it's only been the border states that have talked about it, and not any of the northern border states by any means, because nobody's been sneaking across the border of Canada into the U.S. But the people have definitely been sneaking across the border in the South, and so it's sad to say everybody's just got a big piece of this, mud pie, I guess. Anyways, Tracy says Indiana isn't a sanctuary city. I know we have some here, but we haven't had a lot. And they would be in Indianapolis, nowhere near me. Okay, good. Well, at least they're not near you. Good thing. Yeah, take a friend, Tracy. So, hey, Aaron, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining.
How about some Kelly?
Yeah, we could use some Kelly.
When it comes to Judas in the Bible, did he make it to heaven or did he go to hell? I mean, he did unalive himself. That's a ticket straight to hell. But he also realized what he did was wrong. Is there even the tiniest chance he made it to heaven? First, that's a really good question. So let's look at the Bible and see what it says. But let's get real for a second. When it comes to someone's eternal destiny, that's ultimately up to God. We can't say for sure where anyone goes when they die, because only the Lord truly knows a person's heart. But there is some pretty strong evidence from Jesus' own words that Judas did end up in hell. Let me show you. In Matthew 26:24, during the Last Supper, Jesus said, "For the Son of Man must die," as the scriptures declared it long ago. But how terrible it will be for the one who betrays him. It would be far better for that man if he'd never been born. Now, in the words of Marty McFly, that's some pretty heavy stuff, Doc. You see, what Jesus is saying here is that the outcome for the person who's about to betray me will be so severe, that person will wish they had never been born. Whoa. Now, I've had lots of people make threats to me over my lifetime saying, "You'll wish you never been born." My mom probably being the one who used it the most. But to hear those words coming out of the mouth of Jesus, ouch. But hold on, because in John 17, verse 12, while Jesus was praying, he said, "During my time here, I guarded them, so not even one of them was lost, except the one headed for destruction, as the scriptures foretold." Jesus is saying here, one of his disciples is heading for destruction. Not might be if they don't change their ways, not possibly if they don't repent. He said they are headed for destruction, as the scriptures foretold. Now, this verse brings up another question, though, doesn't it? Did God force Judas to betray Jesus so that the scriptures would come to pass? Because that doesn't sound like the loving God I know, Kelly. Look, that is a really great question as well, and we'll get to that in just a minute. However, based on these two scriptures alone and the statements that Jesus himself makes, seems pretty clear to me. Judas went to hell. Okay, but wait, Kelly, did he go to hell because he unalived himself? Isn't that the unforgivable sin? Actually, no. Unaliving himself wasn't the reason. Now, I do have a full teaching video on the unforgivable sin, and I have a video on unaliving oneself. You can watch those if you want to learn more. Judas went to hell because he didn't repent. Instead of turning back to Jesus for repentance and restoration after he realized what he had done, he chose to take his own life. And the takeaway from that is feeling bad about your sin is not the same thing as repenting and turning back to Jesus. Let's compare Judas to Peter for a second. Both of them messed up big time. Judas betrayed Jesus and Peter denied him, but Peter came back. He repented, was forgiven, and restored. Judas, on the other hand, he didn't do any of that. And that is the key difference. You see, Jesus knew that Judas wasn't going to come back. That's why in John 17:12, Jesus refers to Judas as the son of destruction. Okay, so now let's look at the other question. Did God force Judas to betray Jesus just so the scriptures could come to pass? The answer here is also no. You have to understand, God will never force anyone to do anything they haven't already decided in their hearts to do. Jesus wasn't saying Judas has to go to hell because the scriptures foretold it. What he's saying is God knew before he ever created the world that one day his son was going to go to the cross and be crucified for the sins of all mankind. And he also knew that Judas was going to betray Jesus. He knew Judas was going to make that decision himself and then not repent of it. You see, there is a huge difference in foreknowledge and predestination. Predestination is God setting something in motion, and there is nothing you can do to stop it, no matter how bad you want to. Foreknowledge, on the other hand, is God knowing what you are already going to do. So he incorporates your decision into his plan. Now, the best example that I have in the Bible of this happening is in 1 Samuel 23. Here we see David getting word that King Saul is going to come and destroy the city where he is and try to kill him and his men. So David just asks God, God, is Saul going to come and destroy this city? Is he going to try to kill me? So God tells David, yeah, he is. David straight up asked God, and God told him yes. But guess what? It never happened. Wait a minute. So you're telling me that God lied to David? No, not at all. David asked God if he was going to come destroy the city that he was in. God knew that in Saul's heart, that was absolutely the plan. But since God knew Saul had planned to come, he told David. Since God told David, David said, peace, I'm out. And because David wasn't there, Saul never came to the city. God wasn't saying it was predestined for Saul to come and attack David. Rather, because of God's foreknowledge about Saul, he was able to speak truthfully to David about it. Did God know that David would leave and Saul wouldn't come after all? Of course he did. He knows and sees everything. God doesn't cause bad things to happen, but he will use even those horrible things for good in our lives because he saw them coming and decided to incorporate it in his plan. God didn't harden Judas's heart so that he would betray Jesus. Judas hardened his own heart. God just made Judas's bad decision part of a much bigger plan. Look, the bottom line is Judas went to hell because he didn't repent, not because he unalived himself. That's not just some automatic ticket to hell, but Jesus does offer something so much better. Oh, what does Jesus offer, you ask? Eternal life, hope, and a future. So no matter what you're facing, run to Jesus today. Nothing that you've done is so bad that you can't repent and come back to Jesus. Let Judas be a good example of a bad example, if you will. Yeah, sin may separate us from God, but repentance puts us as close to God as you could ever want to be. And think about that for a minute.
Thoughts?
Wow, there's a lot going on there, and it's pretty cool. So, in regards, see, when I heard him talk about Saul going to attack David, but Saul never attacked that town. Really, if you think about it, that proves free will and how God does that in direct interactions with those that He speaks with. So, think about it like this. God already knew that David was going to leave. God already knew that Saul wasn't going to eventually sack that town that David was in because God knew that David was going to leave. But what he said is that was on Saul's heart. That was Saul's intent. That's what Saul was going to do. But David left. Now, had God given him direction and said, if you leave the town, he didn't say, if you leave the town, he's not going to attack, or if you leave, then he's obviously not going to sack the town. So it's a matter of like, that really is a proof because he didn't tell him what to do. God already knew what David was going to do, but only implied what the intended course of action was at that point. So in regards to Judas, it's It's really fascinating, but it really does speak volumes. Had Judas repented afterwards, I'm so sorry, I made a mistake. Judas's heart was already hard, and I'm sure that there's a lot of information that we don't know that Yeshua was able to see that he did not share, because again, he had to allow that free will, and that again proves free will, because even in the flesh, he didn't make mention of the fact of what Judas was going to do. So therefore, Judas was able to follow through with what was supposed to happen. It's sad that he never, repented of it. But I guess, if we all have our path, then that's where we're at. And so what can we do? What's the best we can do is just stay focused on God to make sure that we're doing things the right way, because in the end, we're trying to save our own individual souls. That I think that's kind of our primary goal here. So yeah, just a thought. Yeah, I'm ready.
What do you think the final nail in the coffin will be?
If Trump wins again.
That'll be the end.
Yes, because they'll do the same thing they did the first time. Everything will be negative. He will be the devil incarnate. They will find their oppositional, media roots again, which they totally forgot during the Biden years. Hello, we have a whole White House press corps that didn't figure out he was being visited regularly by a Parkinson's doctor. Do you think they'd miss that with Trump? My point is they had no interest in finding out anything bad about Joe Biden. So I do think they'll just drive more people away. But they're already dying. Their ratings right now in primetime, they're pulling in 500,000. I mean, I know you dwarf that in your numbers, and I certainly do as well. Now they get maybe 1/4 of what they used to get. They make no news. They're totally irrelevant. What was the last news Savannah Guthrie made?
I have no idea.
Of course you don't. What was the last news big interview Robin Roberts had? Who knows?
I don't ever watch it.
Who has more
Any of them.
influence, Wolf Blitzer or Ben Shapiro?
Ben Shapiro.
It's just a new world. They're well on their way to the end.
Thoughts?
They are well on their way to the end, and this is very, very apparent. Like it was pointed out, if I heard correctly, that the viewership of these mainstream media during prime time is lower viewership than what the people are getting doing their podcasts. And that says a lot. Now, granted, they're big names and stuff like that, but that's great. We need big names to go out there and spread the information. So more people are getting their information outside of the mainstream media. And then I saw a news article today specifically talking about how Rumble made huge gains recently because people are letting go of some of the older platforms that have been around a little bit longer and maybe have a little bit more of a smooth operating system, or whatever the case may be. People care about the freedom of speech. So that would explain where people are going. So they're not just disappearing and dropping off of the face of the news planet in terms of what's going on in the world. As a matter of fact, people are actually seeking other information. And it looks like it's going to be those alternative sources, more of your X and your Rumble and your Pill.net. That's where people are going to be going because of the freedom of speech and the fact that they were stalwarts, through this. Well, X now, especially because, Elon Musk is there. Obviously, it wasn't the case when it was Twitter. But the good news is there's still a lot of people there. So people are going to all of these places to get their information. And it's that people are seeking better information, and they can tell that the legacy media is their day is done. It's only a matter of time before those things find the ash heap of history. It might be a novelty used on occasion when like how the radio went away after the advent of the television. We'll see how it turns out. Yes, Tracy, exactly. You still have to use critical thinking, but I think that's what the people bailing out of the legacy media is pointing out, is that people are using critical thinking and they recognize that they're not getting the truth. Even if it is something that's televised on ABC, they're still looking on alternative sources on where to watch it.
You ready?
Yes, I am.
I want to read that.
Kamala debates Kamala on gun confiscation or pew confiscation, whatever.
This business about taking everyone's guns away, Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. I support buybacks, and it's something I'm so passionate about and so looking forward to being president to address. We've got to deal with this.
How mandatory is your gun buyback program?
It's mandatory. Stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
Thoughts?
Kamala's a liar. Liar, liar, pants on fire. I mean, we all heard that, I think we determined that she had Nomex pants to keep them from catching on fire. There were so many lies going on there during the debate. Hey, Hope, what's going on? Thanks for joining. So every gun owner knows that Kamala is not their vote. Why she would even bother trying to lie about whether or not she was planning on, or whether or not she was pro-gun is pointless. She could easily say she's anti-gun, and she would have gotten more support from her base and fired them up a little bit more, as opposed to trying to lie to the people who weren't going to vote for her to begin with. She didn't save anybody. She didn't prevent anybody from leaving the Democrat vote to go vote for Trump. It wasn't stopped the other night. So whatever. Tracy says all she's going to say, like Hillary did about gay marriages, is I changed my opinion and my way of thinking. And it's really that simple. But it's she's just a politician, plain and simple, through and through. And that's it.
You ready?
Yep.
I need to have a meltdown. I would like to have a meltdown right now on your show.
You want to have a personal meltdown?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I've never heard anybody plan for a meltdown before.
Well, I need to do this, and I think this is the right opportunity.
Okay.
And I don't know what I'm going to say.
Okay.
But I am definitely going to melt down.
Okay.
Okay. So I am completely fed up. I have worked day and night. I work about 80 hours a week. I'm directing almost 40 research projects. I've been working really hard for maybe 45 years. And the last 12 years where I've turned my eye to Google and other tech companies have turned into, for me personally, a disaster. So before I started studying Google, I had published 15 books with major publishers. Since I've started studying Google and other companies, I can't publish anymore. I used to write for and actually work for mainstream news organizations and media organizations. I was editor-in-chief of Psychology Today for 4 years. I was an editor for Scientific American. I wrote for USA Today and U.S. News and World Report and Time Magazine. But in 2019, after I testified before Congress about some of my research on Google, President Trump tweeted to his whatever millions of gazillions of followers, basically some praise for my research. He got the details wrong. But then Hillary Clinton, whom I had always admired, chose to tweet back to her 80 million Twitter followers, and she tweeted that my work had been completely debunked and was based on data from 21 undecided voters. I still have no idea where any of that came from. Probably someone from Google, because Google was her biggest supporter in 2016. And this was 2019. And then that got picked up by this machine. I'm told it's called the Clinton machine. And the New York Times picked that up without fact checking. And then 100 other places did. And I got squashed like a bug. Squashed. I had a flawless reputation as a researcher. My research reputation was gone. I was now a fraud. even though I've always published in peer-reviewed journals, which is really hard to do. And there was nothing I could do about it. And all of a sudden, I found that the only places I could publish were in what I call right-wing conservative nutcase publications, where I've actually made friends over the years. I've made friends with them, but that's beside the point. I was crushed, and not only that, I've been discovering things. I've made at least 10 major discoveries about new forms of influence that the internet has made possible. These are controlled almost entirely by a couple of big tech companies, affecting more than 5 billion people around the world every single day. And I've discovered them. I've named them. I've quantified them. I've published randomized controlled studies to show how they work, published them in peer-reviewed journals. We just had another paper accepted yesterday. And I've built systems to do to them what they do to us and our kids. They surveil us and our kids 24 hours a day. Google alone does that over more than 200 different platforms, most of which no one's ever heard of. People have no idea the extent they're being monitored. They're being monitored if they have Android phones, they're being monitored even when your phone is off. Even when the power is off, you're still being monitored.
How do they do that?
Well, because remember when we could take the batteries out?
Yeah.
And then at some point they soldered them in?
Yeah.
Because they soldered the batteries in, even when you turn the phone off, it's not off. It's easy to demonstrate. It's still transmitting, or it'll transmit the moment the power comes back on. It's still collecting data. So what am I trying to say here? Then my wife was killed in a suspicious car accident. This was also shortly after I testified before Congress in 2019. Right before she was killed, I did a private briefing for Ken Paxton, the AG of Texas, and other AGs at Stanford University. And one of those guys came out afterwards and he said, well, based on what you told us, Dr. Epstein, he said, I don't mean to scare you, but he said, I predict you're going to be killed in some sort of accident in the next few months. So I told you this before when I was on before, and obviously I wasn't killed, but my beautiful wife was killed. And, her vehicle was never inspected forensically, and then it disappeared from the impound lot. I was told it was sold to some junk company in Mexico. And that is one of now six incidents, of violence against people who are associated with me over the past few years. The last just happened a couple of weeks ago.
What was that one?
Well, this last one is kind of weird and creepy. And then I was at a meeting in Dallas, I think it was. Oh, no. It was up in Monterey. And it was with General Paxton and then with some of my staff. And one of my staff members sitting next to me, she all of a sudden just brushed her hand against my computer case, that's my computer case.
Okay.
And she screamed. And we all went, what happened? And she goes, look. And there was a needle sticking out of the computer case, which is impossible. And it was going a half inch into her thumb. It had gone through the end. And of course, I'm thinking, oh, that's awful. But maybe you just saved my life. Maybe it's, it's got some sort of weird poison on it, or it's like a Putin thing, and it's got,
Right.
radioactive substances or something. I'm trying to joke around, but meanwhile, she was terrified. How did a pin get? And by the way, I have a picture of the pin. It's really creepy. I've never.
So when you're saying a needle, you're not saying like a syringe. You're saying a needle like a sewing needle.
No, that's what I'm saying. None of us has ever seen a needle like this needle. It's about 2 inches long. The end is like it's been sharpened.
Okay.
You can see it sharpened, and at the end where there should be a hole for thread, there's no hole.
Okay.
So I don't know what it is, but we've had worse incidents too. I'm just saying this happened to be the latest.
But that's in your computer bag. Was your computer bag ever out of your care?
Well, not that I noticed, but
I mean, if somebody wanted to harm you, a little needle, it's not really.
Oh, I don't think that's someone wanting to harm me.
What do you think that is?
Well, if it's anything, it's someone wanting to scare me. And the fact is, I have been scared, and so have a lot of my staff. This summer we've had 26 interns they come from all over the country. 23 of these people were volunteers, and fantastic young people, extremely smart, helping me run almost 40 research projects.
Mm-hmm.
And there is, we take precautions, and there is some fear. And one of these young men who's done superb work, he asked that we take his name off of everything. He didn't quit, but he's just saying
right,
because
sounds reasonable.
Yeah, because there have been a number of incidents, and if I were, did you ever hear of John Catsimatidis?
No.
Okay, he owns a ton of supermarkets in New York. He also owns WABC New York. But I was at a luncheon with him. I shouldn't do this on the air. I shouldn't do this. But he actually said, to make a long story short, that if he were Google, he would kill me.
Thoughts?
Wow. All right. So that's kind of scary, but he was sadly he didn't know, very smart person, and the Democrat machines, the Clinton machine, they don't care. They don't care. No, matter how good you are, if you say anything that's counter to their narrative, yeah, wow. If you say anything counter to the narrative of the powers that be over there on the Democrat side, yeah, you better look out. You better toe the line, or things are going to look bad for you. Sadly, he found out the hard way. Skunk says, this guy seems a little odd to me. He does seem odd. Kind of a beautiful mind. Yeah, he's a researcher. He's got kind of a beautiful mind kind of thing going on, where he's so smart he doesn't function as well in society as most. Probably a brilliant man. Love to pick his brain for a period of time. That would be pretty awesome. But he's made it. It's important. It's sad that he's scared. It shouldn't be that way, especially when you're just trying to tell the truth. That says a lot about everything that's going on and how fearful these people are of the truth. The fact that anybody would make mention of it, that if they were Google, that probably would make you disappear, says a lot about how some things work. So yeah, that's a little scary, really, if you think about it. It's not the way things should work, but it clearly is. But this exposure, and I can see why he was nervous, but he was already threatened anyways. So he was, I guess, at a certain point, if they've made 6 attempts or something like that, and they took out his wife, what do you have to lose at that point? You may as well let people know, because as long as they're around, they're a threat to you. And if if you exposing the truth is going to make it a little bit, make your life a little bit safer by getting rid of the powers that be that abuse that kind of power, then yeah, that's kind of what you got to do. So a lot of bravery out of him in that regard. I can see exactly why he was nervous, but I am grateful that he said something, because it's the information we need and the timing is right. Tracy says aluminum foil, lead, brass, copper, steel, iron, all of it annihilates cellular frequency.
You ready?
Yep.
You want to read that?
Okay. What it's like living with a corrupt government.
Face. No. No. Ah. No. No.
Thoughts.
That seems about right. That's kind of how it feels. You know, you're just trying to get yourself a meal, and they go out of their way to take all of everything that you thought that you might want because, well, that's what bloated, overstuffed governments do. Is they steal all the resources, the people who do all the work. Anyways, Jenny says, Bruce the cow. Cat's out of the bag on he's on Rogan, and we all heard his story. Google's effed. And isn't the timing curious? Thank you for bringing that up. The fact that he went on Rogan and he said it. Huge audience, obviously gets the information out. That would explain why that was the location to do that. I'm sure that Joe Rogan kind of, said, this is what it is. And probably another reason why Joe Rogan wanted him on the podcast. I'm truly grateful for large podcasters like Joe Rogan being able to get that information out there. But isn't the timing interesting because Google's in the middle of their second antitrust lawsuit. And then this comes out at the same time, kind of like when Boeing was going through some problems and then they had some whistleblowers and stuff like that. Hopefully this guy's a little bit more safe than the Boeing whistleblowers, but we'll see what happens. It's Yeah. But it does seem like exposure, and that's really the important part is more and more information is coming out and people are surviving these kinds of attacks. So Chachi says, I didn't realize I was behind in the live. Yeah, I've noticed that happens every now and then, Chachi, where it'll bounce back. And I have, it's one of the things that I think that they're working on.
Yeah. And I did put that video in the Telegram chat.
Jenny says that Facebook fact checked her about the pets being eaten. Yeah, not a surprise. I mean, there's another one. There's a lady who was talking about voodoo, how it's practiced. It was a great video. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff out there.
Yep. Ready?
Mm-hmm. And that's why people are going to TikTok. That's why they want to ban TikTok.
Yeah.
Fact checking ABC and Heels Up Harris. No one wants abortion up to birth.
Delegate Tran.
Yes, sir.
How late in a pregnancy would your bill apply if a physician was simply willing to certify that the continuation of the pregnancy would impair the mental health of the woman? How late are we talking about?
Well, so the way the suggestion that we've made in the bill is to say it's in the third trimester and at the, with the certification of the physician. So
how late in the third trimester would you be able to do that?
It's very unfortunate that our physicians, witnesses were not able to attend today to speak specifically.
No, I'm
to
talking
that.
about your bill. How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
Or physical health.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mental health.
So, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay. But to the end of the third trimester.
Yep. I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
So, where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth, she has physical signs of that she is about to give a birth, would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilating.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the the physician and the woman
I
would make
understand
at
that. I'm asking
point.
if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
Huh.
Thoughts?
Why on earth did she dance around the question as to whether or not, if the woman was dilating, if they could perform an abortion? We know exactly why she was dancing around it, because he held her feet to the fire and she had to admit it, that the bill allows for abortion up to birth. Absolutely disgusting. I just, the lack of humanity involved in something like that is just incomprehensible to me. I understand that people go off on the wrong track and they, might do a bunch of things that they otherwise wouldn't do in their better sense. I cannot imagine that it's just, this one's difficult for me, that somebody would be at that point and say that this is acceptable to do. But clearly we are at that point in this country, and we're at that point in this country that's somehow acceptable. We have fallen so far, and these are the things that we need to change. I hope that this is the exposure that everybody needs to wake up and see what's really going on, and that they are. Because how can anyone be so sick? Exactly, Skunk. I have no idea. Lots of trauma. People need our prayers, and that's all we can do at this point in time. So I got nothing else other than that. That makes my stomach turn.
You ready?
Yeah. Compilation of Comrade Kamala's debate lies with fact-checked videos.
Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program. It's got to be smart. We got to do it the right way.
Do you believe in the mandatory buyback of quote unquote assault weapons?
I do believe that we need to do buyback. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
And you had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Under Governor Tim
She
Walz.
was big on defund the police. She was big on defund the police.
There we go. Under Governor Tim Walz, babies born alive in botched abortions were left to die. Then he removed reporting requirements. So we have no idea.
She was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went.
Where do you stand on defund the police?
Look,
And that whole
right. So here's the thing: defund the police. The issue behind it is that we need to reimagine how we are creating safety. And when you have many cities that have 1/3 of their entire city budget focused on policing, we know that is not the smart way and the best way or the right way to achieve safety. For too long, the status quo thinking has been you get more safety by putting more cops on the street. Well, that's wrong. And then also, again, what we need to do about demilitarizing our schools. And taking police officers out of schools. On that point, Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
Mexico has taken over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it, went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, And you think you're going to get that? You're going to not hire Americans and you're going to sell the cars to us? No, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line. And you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it.
Thoughts?
So apparently it's already in on the Telegram channel. So that way you have that video ready. So that way you can show it to anybody who seems to think that Kamala wasn't lying through her pearly white teeth. We already knew all this. We understood. And there it is, side by side, what she said versus what he actually said, or what was actually happening in the background. And then with all of the information coming out about the pets in Springfield, yeah, I think that this isn't working so hot for Kamala in the end. And hopefully a lot of people will see the lies that she's saying, because people are trying to share the truth. People are trying to share the information. This is all great stuff. So, yeah, we got to get that word out there so that way people can see that she's just a liar. Because if they can't see it, they're not going to believe it. And this is a nice, quick, tidy package that shows somebody real quick what really was going on, and that Kamala just doesn't know how to tell the truth.
You ready?
Yep.
I'll read that.
Not familiar with Viktor Orban, the democracy-killing Hungarian dictator whose approval Trump touted on the debate stage last night? This you, Hillary? Crooked Hillary slammed Trump for his remarks on Viktor Orban. So here is a little reminder for her.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. I am delighted to be back in Budapest, and on such an auspicious occasion. The United States admires greatly the progress of the journey that Hungarians have taken over the last 21 years, and we feel a strong affinity with Hungarians because of our mutual belief and commitment to fundamental freedoms. And yesterday and today gave us that opportunity to demonstrate in a tangible way our strong connections. The celebration of the centennial of President Reagan's birth with the new statue, and then, of course, the inauguration of such a extraordinary Hungarian-American, Tom Lantos's Institute, to continue the work that he did during his lifetime. The Prime Minister and I reaffirmed the strong ties between our countries. We are NATO allies, we are economic partners, and we are friends. Our discussion was productive and far-ranging. We talked about our mutual commitment in Afghanistan, where Hungary's contributions have been outstanding. We talked, too, about the important work that Hungary is doing at home, as well as through the presidency of the EU, to ensure that the Roma people enjoy the same rights and freedoms as any other Europeans. And I deeply appreciate the decisive steps the government has taken to eliminate hate crimes against its Romani citizens. We are strongly supportive of the Prime Minister's commitment to rebuild and strengthen Hungary's economy. We think that the steps that are being taken to open the economy, to rely more on trade and investment as major economic drivers are absolutely right. We applaud the effort to eliminate corruption that discourages foreign investors and entrepreneurs. And we also talked very openly about preserving the democratic institutions of Hungary and making sure that they continue to grow and strengthen, including providing essential checks and balances. As friends of Hungary, we expressed our concerns and particularly call for a real commitment to the independence of the judiciary, a free press, and governmental transparency. Because it's important not only for Hungarians that this great democratic journey that our two countries are on, we for somewhat longer than you, but certainly sharing that commitment that we continue to exemplify democratic values and freedoms, first and foremost for the benefit of our own people and for the transatlantic alliance, but also as examples for those who are struggling to define their own democracies now in the Middle East and North Africa. We look forward to enhancing our cooperation. I think Tom Lantos has laid out a path for both of our countries to follow, and we will work with Hungary to not only expand economic opportunity, but to strengthen democracy and to promote human rights. And I very much appreciate the warm hospitality and the very good discussion that we've had on a lot of issues today. Thank you, Prime Minister.
Thoughts?
Oh my God, hold on. I got something for this. There we go.
Enjoy your dinner, Tracy.
Yeah, enjoy your dinner, Tracy. All right, here we go. There, this is all I heard. That's it. Ack. Oh, God. Wow. All right. So this is exactly why people stopped going to political anything, is because they just drone on for days and days and days about hollow nothings, and that obviously she didn't mean, because in that one tweet, apparently she felt that he was the worst dictator ever, before anybody else, worse than Attila the Hun. Just amazing. And this is why people stopped listening, because they just obviously by design, to get people to go to sleep, not pay attention, not care. I had a hard time. I didn't even want to listen to her talk. And then imagine, the people that are stuck there because it's all the political, pundits and all that other crap. You got to sit there and listen to. Oh, gee. It'd be never ending. What a nightmare. And then to be a politician and have to put up with that crap. Oh, who wants that? Poor President Trump. I feel so bad for him having to be around all those people. Kiss ass. And well, thank God he doesn't do that. Anyways, Tracy says, I think people should be jailed for saying democracy because it's uneducated. And Mars Attacks was an awesome flick. It was. But sadly, yeah, there's just so many people that sound like the aliens from Mars Attacks, like Kamala and Hillary. Will it ever end?
You want to read that?
May God have mercy on us all. This isn't an AI video. Joe Biden wears a Trump hat at a Pennsylvania fire station.
I have 3 videos on this.
You got 3 videos on this. All right.
Put it on. Come on. I'm going that far. Spencer do a selfie. There he goes. Hey, I'm proud of you now. Hey, they're good. They're good. You fucking fried chicken. I don't know if you like.
Let me pull the next.
Yeah, go ahead and bring up the next one to see what's going on there. Because, yeah, this has been some news, isn't it?
I'll give you my presidential hat. Presidential seal on it. You want to autograph it? Oh, sure, I'll autograph it. Huh? Yeah. You remember your name? I don't remember my name. I'm slow. You're an old part. You're an old part. Yeah, I know, man. I'm an old guy. And you're an old person. I know you would know about that. What? About being old. Oh, I know. All right. I'm a young timer. He reminds me of the guys I grew up with. There was always one in the neighborhood. Yeah. Well, I'm the only one. There you go, man. I need that hat. You want my autograph? Hell no. You know my name. Come on. I ain't going that far. Yeah. You said we'd do a selfie. There he goes. Hey, I'm proud of you now. Just remember, no eating named dogs and cats. Hey, they're good. Thank you. They're good. Kentucky Fried Chicken. I hope you like the pizza. You guys picked the place again. I don't know where it's not easy.
Okay, one more. It's
One more. All right. So we got one more coming up. Yeah. Isn't this interesting? That was just a different view of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Ready?
Yep.
This is shipwreck.
All right. Here we go.
Okay, now just wait a damn minute. So there's more to this Pennsylvania Biden Trump hat thing than I thought. Now they're posting pictures. Biden took a picture with all these kids, and all these kids are in Trump gear with Terminator, I'll be back, which is the best one. Save America, more Terminator shirts these young ladies had on. Jesus for Trump. Then there's old Joe Biden. There's an extended video of him putting the hat on.
Yeah, why? No, put it on. On. Didn't go that far. Eventually do a selfie. There you go. Hey, I'm proud of you now. Go to the wrong cat. Hey, they're good. They're good. Kentucky Fried Chicken. I hope you like.
First, I thought it was a gaffe, but now the media is saying that he was trying to show unity and yada yada yada. According to the White House, he's promoting unity. Some of the Democratic posters, they're saying, well, maybe Trump should wear a Biden hat and do the same. Now they're calling for Trump to do the same. That's a hard no. First of all. Secondly, okay, maybe Biden's not running for president anymore. Why wouldn't he have done this when he was campaigning in order to bring the unity topic to the forefront? Why did he wait until after the DNC kicked him out?
And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand.
Okay, thoughts?
And that's exactly how it came across the whole time. Yeah, they can do their political, it's a unity play. No, it's not a unity play. He can't stand her. Whatever's left of the character of Joe Biden would be pissed off about how she unceremoniously launched him out of what would be otherwise his rightful run for the president. And it was political games in the background. Joe got screwed. By the Obama machine. And, so he's going to make his part known. He's going to do what he can to sink her now. And if that's one thing that he can get away with, obviously that's what he's going to do. I have a feeling that we might see a little bit more about that. But it certainly was not an underhanded or backhanded thing that Biden was doing, kind of like what Putin did when he endorsed Kamala Harris. So it's a bit different. So they can't make that argument. Then do we have anything about Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala? Okay. All right. I'll hold back judgment on that one. But all of these things seem to be happening at once. These are all political games being played out in the media. And here it is. Isn't it a joy?
You ready?
Yep.
These microphones look exactly alike. These microphones were designed exactly alike. They have the same potential to amplify sound that this one's doing. But if I were to switch to this microphone, this would feel like a different message. And even if I was trying with all my might and preaching the best I could in all my strength, it would only do so much. Because it's missing the power. And so you can live your life having all the potential, being called to be the light of the world, the salt of the earth, saying you have the potential, you have the opportunity to be the temple of God. You were still, no matter how you're living it, were formed and knit together in your mother's womb by the creator of the universe. You are loved so deeply and so much that creator God sent his one and only son. It changes nothing about who you were made to be, who you were designed to be. But you can live your whole life like a microphone without power if you do not invite the Spirit of God into your life.
Wow, powerful message. That was awesome. It brought some joy to my heart. Really, that's what we end up lacking. That's what we end up missing. The power to the microphone that we use. It's what keeps us back. But how do we get that power? By turning to God. And then once we go through that process that we were talking about, the refiner's fire, remove all those impurities, and then life opens up. It's just the way it is. We have to get to where we are able to do everything that God wants us to do. It's absolutely a beautiful concept. We just have to get out of his way and make sure that we're doing it Yah's way. So that way it is done right. And then the world will open up to us. Yeah, that was a beautiful message. I love that. That was awesome.
Ready?
Yep.
You want to read this?
Marjorie Taylor Greene, unleashed on Andrew Cuomo, accuses him of unaliving the elderly.
You've said a lot today. In your opening statement, you attacked President Trump and his response. I'd also like to remind you of statements that you've said. On April 13th of 2020 on the Howard Stern Show, you said, and I quote, "Trump has delivered for New York." He has. And then you talked about Trump sending the ship, the Comfort ship. Mind you that the Comfort ship was sent to New York on March 30th of 2020. That was just a few days after you signed the directive to put COVID-19 patients into nursing homes on March 25th, which led to murdering people's parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. Yes, murdering them. Today you said, and I'll quote you, you said that high deaths in nursing homes is a conspiracy theory. Would you like to turn to the people here in this room today whose mothers died and their fathers died in these nursing homes and call them conspiracy theorists? Do you have the audacity to do that, Mr.
I never
Cuomo?
said that, Congresswoman.
You said that today. You're
never said that.
you're under oath.
I never
There is
said high
video.
deaths
There's
are
video
conspiracy.
of all of your words today.
I never
You can
said-
be fact checked. We'll do that when this is over.
Yeah.
You also blamed staff for spreading COVID in nursing homes, not COVID patients. You blamed the staff.
The
But
staff
yet on
brought
March
COVID in.
25th, I didn't ask you a question. I'm talking to you. On March 25th, you signed a directive to put COVID-19 patients into nursing homes. On March 30th, President Trump sent the Comfort ship, and you did not put COVID patients in the Comfort ship. You didn't send them to the Javis Medical Center that President Trump had built, which was a field hospital. You didn't send them there. You put them in nursing homes, which is murder.
That's not.
No, that's murdering people. I'm saying that right now. And I'm also saying what a lot of people believe what your actions did. Let's also talk about some other things that you've done. Mr. Cuomo, let's talk about a tweet that you made because there's an indictment out on a woman named Linda Sun. Linda Sun, and I'll read this indictment. It says on April 4th, politician number one publicly thanked PRC official number one, both in public remarks and in a post on Twitter. That's this right here. For helping arrange the donation, which was scheduled to arrive at JFK Airport in Queens, New York that day. So, Mr. Cuomo, you were thanking China, the PRC, while you had a woman named Linda Sun working for you, who has now been identified as a Chinese spy. Now, today you have come before the American people in our committee. You have insulted many people, including people in this room and people watching this hearing who lost their loved ones because of your March 25th directive. And at the same time, you were thanking the Chinese government while you had a Chinese spy working for you. So, Mr. Cuomo, I've read a lot about you, including the fact that 13 women that work for you accused you of sexually inappropriate behavior, which thanks to the Democrat DOJ helped you out of that. But I'd like to say this, and I'll ask you, are you either the dumbest tool of the Chinese government, or did you know for a fact that you were being used by the Chinese spy that was working for you?
I've read about a lot about you too, Congresswoman. I think this is a very serious matter. About
It is
the
serious, that's
Sun
right.
matter. She was a junior member in my team. I wouldn't recognize her if she was in this room today. But I think it is a serious matter. I don't think this was just in New York. I think there is an infiltration of Chinese, maybe Russian operatives.
The Democrat
Women-
Party's definitely had a problem with Chinese spies. Yes, you're right.
Many
Now I
of
want to
the
remind you, you're under oath.
Yeah, and I think it's a serious issue, and I think the federal government and the state government should work together on it. The state government doesn't really have the ability to do the international reconnaissance, but the federal government does, and I think they should work together to make sure they're doing the best they can to do the vetting.
Mr.
gentleman.
Chairman, I'd like to enter the indictment for the record.
So ordered.
Thank you.
I now recognize Dr. Jackson.
But
Wow. So there was a lot going on there. Marjorie Taylor Greene definitely eviscerated Cuomo on the nursing home stuff. And then she turned around and started dealing with the Chinese spy problem that seems to be having a problem over there in New York. And I know that more people ended up getting arrested that are tied to the Chinese Communist Party. They've been working for. Yeah, Chachi says, stick a fork in him. He's done. He is done, without a doubt. And I pointed out in the chats there that she had said not Mr., not governor, in terms of Cuomo, and he didn't bother correcting her about that. Now that's a really big deal because we know that even during like all the Trump impeachments, there was some level of political decorum and accepting people's honorifics that they've earned, just like it says on Honorable Cuomo, because supposedly he's honorable because he became governor of New York or something. I guess it's bestowed upon you as a title, you know, Dominoes and Biscuits, you're now honorable. But sadly, that doesn't work out quite that way. So I'm starting to think that wasn't Cuomo. I'm thinking that wasn't Cuomo at all. There's just something that just ain't right about that whole thing in terms of him not standing up for the titles and honorifics. Hey, Christian, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining, brother. Yeah. So I think that this is the exposure part of this whole thing. These people are getting taken down simultaneously while Cuomo's getting arrested, or excuse me, while Cuomo's getting questioned in Congress. So I have a feeling it's all over except for the crying. We're going to probably see a lot more of these people who sold out to the CCP get cleaned out. This also says that despite the rhetoric that's going on with China, that the deal that was made with Trump certainly looks to be real, because if that wasn't the case, if Xi Jinping had backstabbed President Trump on his way out, because I remember he said, President Trump said something on his way out, you know, I hope I can trust you. I don't remember the specific words, but I remember it was on one of his exit speeches before he flew off. Chachi says, this is your Nuremberg 2.0. I believe so. I think that China doesn't want to get involved in a war. I believe that. And so I do believe that China is still working with Trump, and that they're giving up the people that they had as human intelligence assets within our country. Now we get to find out how bad they did it. But we'll see what happens. But I firmly believe that we wouldn't be arresting these people if China wasn't working with somebody within our government to clean house. And another thing, it's ridiculous to say that New York doesn't have the resources to vet people internationally. They were sending people over to what was it, the bombing of the barracks in Saudi Arabia, the New York Bomb Squad had sent people out there because of their expertise. So they have international ties. Don't tell me New York doesn't have the ability to ask some questions about some stuff that's going on in different countries. I firmly believe that they have the power of more power than most nations to find out information. Yes, I'm ready.
They want to pay me to get the word out to vote for Kamala. I am an influencer with less than 500,000 followers. I have about 500,000 followers. If you think for 1 second that they didn't pay Taylor Swift to post that today, you're mistaken. We love your TikTok and Instagram content. We think you'd be a great partner for the campaign. Really? Wake up, people.
I have another one on Taylor too.
I got a comment on Taylor.
Go ahead.
She's known for singing, like she's made her career off of singing about all of her poor choices.
I know.
Yeah. Wow. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
Let that one sink in. Too bad the people that are listening to Swift, the Swifties, aren't smart enough to figure that one out. Chachi says, wasn't China posting on Twitter all the politicians that were working with the CCP counterparts? I think before even Elon took over. Huh. I don't recall. I don't recall that, Chachi, but that's a very real possibility. Very real possibility.
So
All right.
I have Sassy talking about these endorsements.
All right. Let's go,
Earmuffs.
Sassy.
Earmuffs.
Let me see if I can get this straight. Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. Shocker. Where's my fuck? I've misplaced it. Joe Biden endorsed Donald Trump. My best Yodanese, shocked I actually was. Putin endorses Kamala. Baby, my head's spinning. Both of them, because I'm a man. Fire up the helicopter. These bitches giving me white boy whiplash. Whoosh. Number first thing, we don't give a dog dick damn who Taylor Swift endorses. You all hear me? So if you see the DNC boss baby with rosé squalling in his granny's kitchen about breaking news, that's how you know that's pig shit propaganda. If we're making Joe Biden cookies, who the fuck do you think she's gonna fucking endorse? Donald Trump? Kiss ass. Celebrities' opinions don't mean dog shit to me. Y'all got brain cells starving for auction. They shouldn't to you either. If you are waiting on a celebrity to tell you who to vote for, somebody who does not live or exist in your fucking tax bracket, while complaining about a fucking capitalist America, while living a life of wealth and fortune from capitalism while you support a fucking socialist, is dog dick stupid. Do you understand? As far as Putin and Kamala, nobody knows what root Tootin' Putin's got up his sleeve. As far as Joe, this alleged sign of unity, which he also done a couple years ago, wearing his Trump gear. So what they done to Joe the Ho 2.0? How they done him? What Trump said at the debate about Joe fucking hating Kamala's guts. And we know he hate Nancy. Hell, ain't none of us like Nancy. It's tic-tac-toe. You can see in his eyes how he hate Nancy. Is it just me? Or does that hat send a different message this year? I don't mean to be all conspiratorial, but damn, I think Joe mean it this time. White House tried like damage covered it. Oh, he meant to do it. Oh, he meant to do it. Bullshit! You tried to keep Joe on the beach for 3 years. You cannot tell me Joe is not MAGA right now. And you know what? Too little, too late. FJB. Did I have Joe Biden endorsing DT on my bingo card? Fuck yeah, I actually did. And here the fuck we are. I'm basically a political psychic. Want to start doing political palm reading? Okay, fuck you. Have a good day. Bye.
Thoughts.
The amount of chaos that's going on with all these endorsements is hilarious, and Sassy's always awesome. I love listening to Sassy. He certainly brightens up the day with his trash talking. Love his trash talking, and he's got pretty good analysis too. You know, majority of the time, and we all, you know, none of us has ever been 100% right. But with that being said, Sassy, you know, just putting it out there, it's so funny with the way the political game is getting played out. It really does make it look like political theater. It's awesome. Yeah. Tracy says political bingo with him is freaking awesome. That's cool.
You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
You want to read this?
Don Lemon mocks Melania Trump's video wanting answers on her husband's assassination attempt. Oh, really?
The attempt to end my husband's life was a horrible, distressing experience. Now, the silence around it feels heavy. I can't help but wonder, why didn't law enforcement officials arrest the shooter before the speech? There is definitely more to this story, and we need to uncover the truth.
Thoughts.
So is Mr. Newsman contending that there was no like conspiracy to like assassinate the president? I don't understand what he's getting at with his shaking his head no. I didn't realize anything she said would have been like contrary to what every human being that has a clue would be able to see. But then again, I guess, you got to keep your narrative going because, well, it's just not going to end out very well for you once the dust settles and Trump becomes president. So good luck with your attempt, but have a feeling, Mr. Lemon, that your treasons will be found out, sir. Just a guess. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. Tracy says that man is disgusting. He's a drama queen. Yes, he is, Jenny. He is a drama queen, without a doubt. But that's how he got to the top, being a queen. I mean, drama queen.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm going to talk about the debt clock.
All right.
Hey, you guys, we've got a new US debt clock message. Today is Wednesday, September 11th, 2024. It says restitution with a definition of restitution that says a restoration of something to its rightful owner. On this side, we have the Fed dollar, we've got the pyramid, we've got the money changers and a big X over it. And then on this side, we've got the nice bright gold America. We've got We the People and the new USA dollar. And the debt clock has been preparing us for a restored America that's going back to the original Constitution of 1776, where gold and silver is the money, where the wealth will be transferred from this to We the People. They have been preparing us, drilling it into our heads. And you guys, I originally wasn't going to make a decode today, but as I was taking a shower, you can see I'm nice and refreshed, but my brain would not turn off. I just kept thinking about things and things were coming to my head. And Echo and I were brainstorming earlier today. And if you guys been on my X, we came into some pretty crazy information about the Matrix and the Terminator and the Second Coming, how it all ties in together. And I was going through and researching the Matrix and all that stuff and Ingersoll Lockwood. And I was brought to the Ingersoll Lockwood book, The Last President. And I'm reading up on this because you guys, with the debt clock messages, they have been drilling into our heads the history of how we got to the place we are and the solution that's going to take care of the problem. And they've also been bringing in spiritual references, the Bible, angels, Christ with the X, like Christ is everywhere on the dead clock messages. And Echo and I have been brainstorming. And of course, we know like we're pretty much like polar opposites. He brings to the table all of the digital gold, digital assets, XRP, how that comes into play. And I'm more of the spiritual, biblical decoder who brings like that portion into it. And as we're talking, I'm like, you know what? The prosperity that we're going to be coming into, it's not going to matter unless you have a relationship with God. The prosperity is meaningless unless you have a relationship with Christ. Now, how does Ingersoll Lockwood and all, the Matrix and Terminator and everything, you guys, I can't really go into detail because there's not enough time and it's just very, it goes deep. So bringing in Ingersoll Lockwood, I'm going to go over a few points of The Last President. The book, the time frame of the book takes place in 1896. It says the novel begins with an election of an outsider candidate, a populist, which causes an uproar, particularly in New York City. This reflects deep division and unrest among the populace, with parts of the city in near chaos due to the unexpected political shift. It says, following the election, there are descriptions of riots and a state of panic. The election's outcome leads to significant civil unrest with mentions of anarchists and socialists playing roles in the disturbances. Okay, so this is an elected president that's not a political, they're not in politics. He was an outsider. Okay, who does that remind you of? It says the president's role, the elected president, is depicted as someone who aims to represent the common people fighting against the established financial and political elite. His policies aim at undoing what's described as years of corrupt dealings between lawmakers and business interests. I should add, this is entertainment purposes only. None of this is real. This is just pointing out similarities between a book and a president. So in the presidency, transferring the wealth from the corporations, from the government to the people, right? There becomes an economic redistribution. It says one of the outcomes hinted at in discussions around the book, as seen in Expo, suggests that there's a point where wealth is redistributed back to the people. However, this leads to an unexpected consequence where people reportedly become lazy and mismanage their newfound wealth, leading to societal degradation rather than improvement. And then it says collapse or transformation. The narrative implies or leads to discussions about the potential collapse of the existing social order, or at least a significant transformation. The republic faces severe challenges, possibly hinting at a downfall or radical change in governance or society structure due to the policies and unrest. So as I was saying about the transfer of wealth, and the prosperity is meaningless unless you have a relationship with God and you have a relationship with Christ, which is why the US debt clock has been bringing in all of these biblical references for those of us who may not be as spiritual, to finally come to God and come to Christ, because there's going to be probably so many people who are just going to become lazy and take advantage of the newfound wealth and not want to provide and help society or help the economy. This is where the humanitarian efforts come in, because we have the wealth, but we need to have the heart to be able to restructure, the economy, and do it for the good of humanity. And then it came to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why Elon Musk is freaking out, trying to hurry up and get all of this AI, like robots and all that kind of stuff done to be able to take over the workload, because nobody's gonna want to work. I've been seeing all of these posts of people who work for, X, SpaceX, or, whatever, just working for Elon. He's working them like a dog, and they're like, okay, something's coming, something's up, because he's rushing to get this stuff done ASAP. And all of them are just overworked, but it has to be done. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, God, why did you bring the LDS Church in? Why did I have to go over that? Because I don't know if you guys understand how uncomfortable that is for me, because I fell away and I'm like having this conversation with God. I'm like, I really don't think I'm the best person to go over this, because I still have like a grudge. I still hold like a pretty deep-rooted grudge with the church. And that literally would have been the last thing that I would have want to go over. But you guys, I'm following where I'm being guided, okay? Anyway, so I'm praying and I'm like, why are you showing me this? Why am I being guided there? And the answer was really clear, okay? It was for family, because the church is very very family oriented, and the family has been torn apart. They have been trying to separate the family structure and distance children from their parents, which is another thing that is tearing this economy apart. God has been taking out of the schools, and where do children spend most of their time? In school and away from their family and away from their parents. So this brings God and Christ and family values back into the equation and repopulating the earth with those morals and with those values. Now, I'm not saying run and go join the LDS church, although I'm sure they would love it. All I'm saying is just to keep an open mind. Anyway, that's all I had, you guys. I'm doing this on a whim. I had no plan for this debt clock message, but I really wanted to just go over this with you guys. So I'll see you on the next one.
Thoughts?
Wow, there's a lot of stuff going on there. So yeah, the Ingersoll Lockwood book, The Marvelous Adventures of Baron Trump, it kind of lays out exactly what's going on. And aren't we seeing exactly what it was? A populist comes up, disrupts everything. They don't like him. And so they do the best they can, but they end up losing. So what do? They turn into whiny little bitches and they send their little their hooligans out, the anarchists and whatnot, to go do anarchic kind of things, and they end up losing anyway. And then the powers that have all the money right now end up losing everything, and it ends up getting redistributed. And then think about what happens when people get a huge windfall of money. By the way, what is it? The average length of time before a lottery winner declares bankruptcy is 5 years. So I have a feeling that that kind of stuff could very well happen if people don't play their cards right, especially if there is a massive redistribution of wealth. Also, you look at a lot of the information that's coming out there. The dollar is collapsing. We are going to have to go to something. Who's they? The they that I'm speaking of here are going to be the powers that be that surround kind of the fiat currency that we have right now. Those people are going to be the ones that end up faring not so well. But I also have a feeling that those families that have been around for oh so long are the exact same families that pulled shenanigans like the Titanic and ended up getting rid of the people that were doing the best to make America be America. And now they're finally going to lose. And we just have to do our part, stay calm, cool, collected, and ensure that family, like she was talking about there at the end, is the thing that is most important to us. And I will say that's one of the most beautiful things about the Mormon faith is they have strong family units. They know how to do a family. I may disagree with their theology, but that's something different. But I can tell you that they are good people, that they do care about their family, that they won't take a whole bunch of crap, and that they, in the end, just want to be left alone, and they're all prepared and have all sorts of foodstuffs and preparations done because that's a central tenet of their faith, which I can completely agree on. And if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of what the Bible gets at, that we should be doing anyways, strong family units and be prepared. Anyways, so Tracy says, I'm Jewish. They say I squeak when I walk. I'm a penny pin pincher. Oh, God. Let's see. Chachi says, I kind of think those shows on lottery winners losing all their money is a type of propaganda to create a paradigm. People aren't responsible to manage their own money. I can see where you're coming from. I do believe that there are some, that's just an average. That's just an average. That doesn't mean that there aren't outliers on both ends. Somebody who was bankrupt in the first 6 months, and then somebody who still has it and has remained quiet and wants nobody to know nothing. I can see that happening too. But as a generality, I do believe that people go out, they get up to their eyeballs in debt because they have a whole bunch of money now. The banks are going to be very happy to part them with their money. You may as well go to Las Vegas and just bet it all on black. If you're trying to work with the banks to build something, it just doesn't seem to work out for us regular folk. Anyways, Aaron says the Mormons here behave a lot more like a mafia than a religion. And I can see where you're coming from. They protect their own. And that's something that how Americans should feel. That is an American concept. Oh, you're not from this country and you want to eat our pets? Yeah, it's not going to go good for you. I mean, yeah, that they want to make sure that they have a place. Also, keep in mind that the birth of their religion was, fraught with a whole bunch of persecution. Anyways, Tracy says, Aaron, I'm still mad, but I forgive you. That's good. Love. That's what we should do, is love each other.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Listen to this college student talk to Charlie Kirk.
Okay.
I will be voting for Trump. Good. And can I explain why? Please. So under the Trump administration, my family, we've been renters. So under the Trump administration, when the economy was good, my family, they'd been saving up for a house. They had a good savings. They were making well. And over the last 4 years, their savings have been wiped out. Inflation has killed them. They're back to renting. They don't know if they'll ever be able to retire. So even though as a Christian, I might not agree with how Trump has been in a couple marriages, sleeps with a lot of women, and gets into all this personal drama, just simply based off the economy, I believe I have to vote for Trump.
Well said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You want a hat? Tell your friends. Love it.
Thoughts?
It's sad, but this is the exact reason why the fiat currency is going down. It is educating people. You can't tell people, you have to show them. And it's not fun. It's not exciting. As a matter of fact, this is a miserable experience, getting attacked on every angle, everywhere, all of the time. But I believe that as we pull through this and as people remain as calm as they possibly can, understanding that this is a movie in so many ways, doesn't mean that there isn't real stuff happening, but it does mean that a lot of this is already kind of, in the pipeline to begin with, because that's the way the game is played at those levels where Trump and the Kennedys are at. So it's sad to see this, but this is the message that needs to get out, because this isn't the first time this has happened where people have saved and tried to, have the American dream of a home ownership, and it's been denied. So I look forward to when it finally changes.
Exactly. Okay, so
yes,
we have Trump talking about TDS.
Trump's talking about TDS.
Tracy says, this is why I'm so grateful to God that me and my husband paid off our house in 5 years, or I'd probably be homeless because of the economics of Joe Biden.
That's a sad reality, and praise be to God that was taken care of.
Hope says, Aaron, true. A niece of mine had her family in Utah. Thankful they are out.
Yeah, I understand that there's a lot of people who've been hurt, and a lot of people leave that faith. I understand, but I am not going to attack anybody's faith.
Yeah. So Trump talking about TDS.
Okay.
They suffer from a thing called TDS. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
TDS, it's a horrible, horrible terminal disease. It destroys the mind before the body, but the body eventually goes. TDS is Trump derangement syndrome.
Thoughts?
It's nice to hear President Trump talk about that. It's a reassuring thing when Trump is making the same jokes that we all say, because politicians generally don't say things like to say anybody has a derangement syndrome, even if it's a made up one, because it's not a political move. But then again, that's why we love Trump, because he's not a politician. He's a regular guy. He's a regular guy doing amazing things. And he's earned the right to talk a little bit of trash, especially with everything that he's been going through. And I think it's kind of funny, because in the end, I think that if we were to look at real psychological issues, that this would be a derangement syndrome, and that to call it the Trump derangement syndrome is probably scientifically accurate. And I'm not talking like none of that Fauci science. I'm talking like the real science in medicine. Like I really believe that TDS is a legitimate mental health issue.
I thought it was funny when he said it takes over your mind first and then your body goes.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious.
It is hilarious.
You're ready.
Yeah.
I
why your Christianity is not the cowardly, wimpish Christianity that you want to make it. My Christianity is the Christianity that defeated Islamic Jihad 3 times. My Christianity is the Christianity that conquered the Roman Empire. My Christianity is the kind of Christianity that defeated the pagan Vikings and the northern pagan tribes. My Christianity is the kind of Christianity that defeated the Ottoman Empire, that defeated the Arab invasion of the 7th century, that defeated the Arab invasion in Andalusia, in Spain. Do you see? He sees it. Oh no, this is where you're wrong, because the Ethiopian Christians who follow my kind of Christianity defeated the Muslim invasion from Somalia and Egypt. My Christianity is the one followed by the Armenians and the Georgians who defeated the Persians, Zoroastrians, and the Muslims. My Christianity is not for wimps. You're complaining about it because you are.
All right, Santino. All right. So yesterday, I noticed that some people are getting frustrated about what we've been getting put through. And we've been put through a lot. We've been silenced. We've been kicked. We've been beaten. All sorts of things that have happened. And we've been quiet. And we've been kind of silent in a lot of this. Although people are starting to talk about it now. And I think that that's an amazing thing. But we have to remember, all of those things that he was talking about were things that happened over hundreds of years before Christians ever really responded to anything. Also, he mentioned that that our version of that Christianity took out the Roman Empire. It did take out the Roman Empire, but they did it with love, and there was a lot of pain. A lot of martyrs happened to take over Rome. But with that being said, it's the First Crusade, and I don't want to bring this up. It's a long one, and some of y'all may have heard it. But the First Crusade began in 1095, 460 years after the first Christian city was overrun by Muslim armies, 457 years after Jerusalem was conquered by Muslim armies, 453 years after Egypt was taken by Muslim armies, 443 years after Muslims first plundered Italy, 427 years after Muslim armies first laid siege to the Christian capital of Constantinople, 380 years after Spain was conquered by Muslim armies, 363 years after France was first attacked by Muslim armies, 249 years after the capital of the Christian world, Rome itself, was sacked by Muslim army, and only after centuries of church burnings, killings, enslavement, and forced conversions of Christians, by the time the Crusades finally began, Muslim armies had conquered 2/3 of the Christian world. They're not victims, and we're not victims. We have been going through this. We have been putting up with this for quite some time now, and they have been importing armies. But you know what? Charles Martel is a man who took the hordes and turned them back around. That is one of the continuing stories that seems to follow Christianity and a belief in God around time and time again, where when it looks like we're the weakest is when God shows his strength and power, because these other people thought that they had the win because of their lack of belief. Now, I will say, and this isn't so much Muslims because they are an Abrahamic faith, and there are some that are very dangerous, especially the ones that are following all of this Palestine stuff. But that is very different from your average Muslim believer who really does follow the peaceful tenets of it. Now, don't worry about how bad things may ever look. Always maintain your faith and understand that it is our God's timing. It is our God's plan that we will overcome. Our only job is to keep our faith and confidence and to not fear, so that way we can move forward. Everything is going to be fine, and we have to recognize it's been so much worse in the civilized world than it was so much worse in the past than it is now. And I have firm faith and confidence that God will help us prevail, because We just want to be God's country. And as long as that's our goal, then we will be just fine. Aaron says on X an hour ago, tagged you in at Santino. Tim Walls just said Kamala started her career as a young prostituter. That's pretty awesome. Tracy says, well, there's different tribes in the Muslim belief, and if some of the Muslims didn't have the Jews to blame, they would be warring with each other. Look, I am very well aware of what goes on over there in the Middle East and that faith. I probably know a little bit better than a lot of people. But I do know that, and even when I was over there, they were very good people. They were loving. If you were kind to them, they were kind and loving to you. And if you wanted to start problems, they just weren't going to, just roll over and take it. And that's how we should be loving and kind to everybody we meet.
Don't be a lukewarm Christian.
Yeah, don't be a lukewarm Christian, but have that faith and confidence that that this country will prevail, because I do believe that the divine providence that was used to create this nation is the very same divine providence that will save this nation once President Trump gets back into office. Tracy says, I've been to Egypt and India. India has the most Muslims. Well, yeah, they got a lot of people over there. Yeah, and that is the thing. And we can all live in peace with each other because there is a freedom of religion in this nation. And that's something we can't forget. Also, keep in mind, we need to focus on our ties of being linked via Abraham. And it's that love that Yeshua would want us to hold fast to, and that will bring us out in the end. But if you're ever, in a position where you got to protect your house and home, that's always within your rights. And like we were kind of saying yesterday, we'll know when it's time, and Trump will be the first to say something, but I don't think that that's going to be necessary. So have that faith and stay positive. Know that everything's going to be fine, and that we will see y'all again on Monday. Thank you all for showing up on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, Rumble, and pill.net.
And if you haven't already, please give us that virtual hug. If you're over on Rumble or YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're over on Pill, hit that or take that red pill. And if you're over on X, smash that heart.
There we go. All right, everybody. Thank you all. We love you all. Have a great weekend. God bless and be safe.